are the church outside with the people who live outside. And some people say, well, why don't you try to move into a church building, or why don't you get a building of your own? And that's not it. We're here in solidarity with people who can't or won't come inside. Ecclesia Ministries, Common Cathedral, was started by a priest named the Reverend Debbie Little. She really felt called to just go and be with poor people. She talks about a particular woman that she saw sitting on the steps with all her bags around her, and just feeling this call to go and be with her and learn what that is to be poor. What she decided to do is to just walk around Boston Common with some peanut butter sandwiches and talk to people. When she would meet someone, she would say, take me around and introduce me to the people that you know. She would say that the church was already here, she just gathered the people. She had met enough people, and there was this community kind of emerging that they wanted to have a worship service. And so on Christmas Eve of 1995, she gathered some people in South Station, a big transportation hub, and they celebrated Eucharist on Christmas Eve. As Easter was rolling around in 1996, the people wanted to gather again, and this time they said, let's do it outside, let's do it on Boston Common. People were talking about, well, since it's going to be on Boston Common, let's call it Common Cathedral. They gathered for Easter, they had a wonderful celebration, and I think Debbie thought that it was going to be another kind of one-time thing. But as the service was winding down that day, people said, see you next week. So Common Cathedral has taken place right here in this spot every Sunday since Easter of 1996.
We intentionally bring together folks who are housed and those who are homeless to be transformed mutually together and to join in work serving the poor in our community by providing clothes and food and fellowship. So we are a church that meet people where they're at, and we bring the church right where people are, out on the street, right across the street from the cathedral actually, in the Boston Common. And we have an altar on wheels, and we make church happen without walls and windows and a roof.
The whole idea of a town common is really interesting to me. A common is different than a public space. Public meaning that anybody can use it, but common meaning that it belongs to everyone. And I think that has had a great effect on our church, that we worship on Boston Common. Everyone takes ownership in Common Cathedral. I came here from San Francisco. I moved across the country to be a part of this ministry. And I always felt like there was something missing by not working with poor people. I discovered that Ecclesia Ministries was looking for a second minister. And it was something that I never dreamed would happen, never realized would be possible. I've experienced a lot in my life that when I'm headed in the right direction, the doors just fly open. And that's what happened after looking for a couple of years. I applied for this job, and within 3 weeks I was moving out here. A lot of times when people hear that we have a church that's mainly unhoused people, they think that we're doing something to them or for them, but really we're just gathering all together, and it's housed and unhoused people together, and everyone has a part in it. On a day when the weather is absolutely perfect, not too hot, not too cold, we might have 120 people gathered. In a blizzard, we might only have 20. I think what has grown is the number of housed congregations that are involved with us, the people who come to worship with us and bring lunch. All of that has grown tremendously.
People struggling out of addictions, people reconnecting with long-lost family. I've seen this church in particular inspire folks around the world to think outside of the box and to reach out to those who are homeless, marginalized.
We're able to be a lot more welcoming by not having a door that someone has to walk through. It makes the worship service much more fluid. People come in and out, all kinds of people. They might be tourists, they might be people from cruise ships, who just happen by, and a lot of our regular congregation will say that they just walked by and found us there and joined in. One thing it does, not having a building, is that we don't have to maintain that building. We're able to be out on the streets almost every day of the week and run a lot of programs for a small amount of money. There were programs that just kind of organically grew up. Things like common art. We have kind of an open studio space, and we provide art supplies so that people can be creative and express their spirituality through art. City Reach is an educational program, kind of an urban immersion program where youth and young adults from all over New England can come and learn about homelessness from people who have experienced it.
We have all different ages. We have some college groups that join us and some adult groups that come and join us. It's kind of urban camping.
They arrive on Friday night with a lot of food and clothing that they've collected from their congregations or their colleges. And then they hear from people in our congregation, people who have experienced homelessness.
Our City Reach staff are members from our community who are either homeless or have been homeless. And so their stories and their experiences have real deep personal meaning.
I remember the first time I walked up to a shelter, there's a long line, people waiting to get into a place 3 times, 4 times as big as this, bed after bed after bed. I just felt all alone. My family wouldn't talk to me. I had no family left, no friends left. And I guess that was the biggest part about losing everything and being all alone, is the isolation. So the biggest part about Ecclesia Ministries is to be part of a community and be a part of interacting with people again. You don't feel all alone.
Through this process of telling stories, people really learn about the issues and really have that transformation of heart.
Those folks take them out on tours of the city and show them where they eat and where they sleep and where they hang out and just places that are important to them in Boston. They come back together and gather and have kind of a nighttime prayer service before they bed down in the cathedral. And then in the morning, they open the doors of St. Paul's Cathedral so that about 200 people come in and receive food and clothing. So the kids that are there get to offer hospitality, get to provide service. We spend some time doing reflection so that they can figure out what this experience has meant for them. And many of them find that it's very profound, that it's life-changing. And they talk about their next steps so that this won't just be something that they came and did, but something that they can carry forward into their lives, into their ministries.
I've really been amazed at how people express the meaning of this program and how they feel transformed and sensitized to the issues regarding homelessness. And our relationships that we've forged with congregations and individuals have been mutually transforming, both here at Ecclesia Ministries, through City Reach, and back in their local congregations and faith communities.
And that's just an incredible experience for people that live in the suburbs to come and gather with folks who live right here on these park benches, to worship the same God, to receive communion together, to hold hands and sing "We Shall Overcome." It's a very equalizing kind of experience. We're a ministry of presence, so we're trying to meet them where they are, not only physically, but emotionally, spiritually. I really feel like I get to be out here with the poor and the outcasts, which is the kind of ministry that Jesus did on earth. I've also seen from my congregation, who carry everything they have with them pretty much, that I don't really need very much. We get really attached to our possessions and our material comforts and things, and they're just not necessary. I feel blessed just to have a warm place to go when I leave here, and a lot of people don't.
I've become more sensitive to the challenges of life and the struggle to live. I have just been overwhelmed by the courage and the bravery, just the strength that people have within themselves. And my role is to foster that desire for love and life and all that is good and from God, and for us to go together as a community.
I'm always pleased when we do reflection afterwards and the congregation will say something like, you know, we couldn't tell who was homeless and who wasn't. They're just like us. We're just all people, and we just have different experiences in our lives. We all get cold and we all get hungry, and we're all just out here together kind of getting by.